Okay.
If it fucks up. If you fuck up.
Are we live?
It's not live anywhere.
Okay, good.
Not live anywhere. Well, welcome, Aaron. Got another one going.
Let's do it.
I've enjoyed these, man. We got a few in the bag or the box. I don't know where you put podcasts. Don't say cloud.
Okay.
Um,
I just let's move on.
yeah. Anyway, I'm enjoying these.
Me too. It's and
Cool.
I hope that other people are enjoying them too. But I think I told you a couple of weeks ago. I don't really care. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
But I hope that some of it's insightful. But otherwise, it's just our normal conversations. Just put out there for the world.
Can be.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's get right in there.
Cool.
So I've got this first article that I really liked on Medium, and I put this everywhere.
Yeah.
It was even in LinkedIn too, and I got some messages from it, which is cool. And it's not to have a whole devolved conversation about social media, but I find that if you can, with LinkedIn, if you can get past the sales people, it actually can be a pretty vibrant community in terms of people communicating. Because I've had the most meaningful interactions in LinkedIn, which is just awesome.
No, I maybe sometimes because Facebook, at least for our age, is family and friends. Instagram is a whole bunch of pictures that you can't really...
Just the good feels.
Exactly. But LinkedIn...
Good feels and bikini shots. That's basically it for Instagram.
Pretty much, yes. LinkedIn, less bikini shots for sure, but...
yeah, or zero.
It's,
That's
but
why
yeah,
I use it.
it's, you know... I mean, there are obviously every once in a while political discussions I stay away from. But yeah, it's fairly, you know, when a post comes up, it's like-minded people that
it seems to be.
And that, you know, most of these people are, I don't want to say interested in business, you know, the sometimes when you talk about business, like,
Suit and tie.
Going to play business. But,
selling insurance.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, it's some of the community in LinkedIn are trying to, you know, better themselves for business, for
they are.
careers, for
I
things
agree.
like that. And so sometimes
I agree.
putting something like that out there, like this out there, is exactly what somebody needs. You know, I find that sometimes with the quotes I do in Facebook, but again, those are family and friends that, you know, every once in a while I'll get the, you know, I really needed this today, and that's great. But I think in LinkedIn, you know, it should be more than just a quote. You know, an article
some
like
deep
this,
thought, like some prepared thoughts. I try to, But I'm pleasantly surprised because I've avoided LinkedIn like I've avoided politics for a while. But I probably won't. I kind of want to try to engage a little bit more in that platform.
Good.
That being said, this one resonated with people. 7 little things that can tell you a lot about someone. Potent habits that can reveal a person's character. And I want to talk through them, and I want to see how you feel about them.
Sure.
And see if maybe I'm overreacting to some of them. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's 7 of them. So the first one, how they keep their commitments.
Well, how do you... Okay. Maybe we should go with what you think, because then I can tell you if you're overreacting or not.
That's good. I don't mind that. So the article has the distinction, right? It's not how you keep your big commitments, like your wedding vows or, you know, your oath of office, or, you know, you join the military and you stay in the military, like all that. It's not the big ones, because those are kind of easy to do because societal pressure or whatever. It's the little ones, like, you know, about being late, you know, about not following through on something, like, hey, you guys want to come over for dinner?
Right.
I don't know. I'll let you know. And then you just never hear back.
Right.
like that kind of thing. Yeah, so it can tell you a lot about someone's deeper character, I think. And I see that too. I think it's like the little things. You know what I mean? Like if there's a gym goer and they're always 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like that thing where somebody says they'll meet you somewhere and then they just kind of ghost you or constantly bail or whatever those things are.
Yeah. I think this specific thing we actually talked about one time, and
I'm sure we have. It's a pet peeve of mine.
But yes, it's the little things that add up to the big things, and you know, I think the last time I said something to the effect of, you know, how you live your days, how you live your life. So that goes down to, you know,
right.
You make a decision to keep your commitment or not on something small. It eventually goes to, are you keeping your commitment on something
on anything
big? Right. Exactly.
I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, it could tell you, like, are they actually reliable? You know, do they hold themselves accountable?
Right.
Like, are you going to have to hold this person accountable?
Right.
Is that a job that is that a job you want to do in terms of, you know, your relationship with this person? Do they value you at all?
Exactly.
You know, that sort of thing.
Well, that too. Like, do you keep, you know, does that person keep a commitment to somebody else? Do they not keep them to you? You know, like, so it may not always be like how they treat everybody, but it may show how they treat you specifically too.
Kind of a heads up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or even where they put the value of the service you're providing. I mean, if not, it doesn't have to just be a friend.
Right.
It could be, you know, business. Yeah, it could literally be your client or your customer.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the other one we have here, how they treat people below them.
Yeah.
And the quote's cool. You can easily judge the character of a man by how he treats those who can do nothing for him.
Well,
right?
And so, you know, kind of going back to the how they treat you, like, you know, if in work you're a subordinate to them.
Yeah.
You know, how they treat your time. So it goes to the commitments too, but also, you know, like, so, you know, then how do you treat somebody when somebody treats you like that? But yeah, I mean,
like, how do you treat the janitor?
Right.
You know.
Exactly. Well, I've been the CEO and the janitor in my own company many times,
Yeah, well,
so
yeah.
you know.
I know the vibe there.
So I feel like I try to, you know, treat everybody this, you know, and you can never tell because
right.
Because the thing is you can't see you doing it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Right.
So. Yeah. Yeah. When you see people treating somebody else like crap and they're in a quote unquote lower position than you,
like a waiter.
Yeah.
Waitress, whatever. Server. Thank you. I was looking for the right answer. Like, how you treat them.
Oh yeah.
I treat them like crap.
Right.
I've been with people that do, and it's uncomfortable.
Yes, it is. Especially since I used to own restaurants.
That's a super big red flag on like how they're going to treat you if you ever accidentally do something wrong.
Exactly.
Probably going to lose their shit with you.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
And I'll tell you, it's a cool story. I don't know if you know this guy, but Stephen Thompson, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson of the UFC. He's I think he's a middleweight. I don't know. Anyway, I know you don't follow the UFC as close as I do, but I mean the guy's famous. He's like, he fought for the title, like he's a big dude. Well, they're actually from Simpsonville, South Carolina, which is cool. Yeah. And he and his brother, and I think another brother or sister, or whatever, and their father, Ray Thompson, they all work in the same karate school. Oh, cool. Like he like works there.
Yeah.
He trains there, but he works there, and you know, he teaches the little 8-year-olds and below.
That's cool.
I mean, here's this guy who's like fighting for the world championship in like fighting, and he teaches the little kids. And that's kind of cool testament to like him and how he treats people that are definitely below him. The kids probably don't even know who he is. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. I find that very interesting that he would do that, because I imagine he could probably charge a pretty good premium to just train any old jerk.
Sure.
You know, like me or something, you know, like, but he chooses to do that. And he chooses to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's.
And he says, like, because he knows, like, that's the legacy, that's the future, you know what I mean? So that's where he wants to put his energy. And I'm like, well, that's cool.
Right, because if you can get them at an early age,
they can be the next him.
Or they could be something better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, yeah.
I dig that.
No, that's awesome. And that is why you should treat your white belts well.
Yes.
And your yellow belts
I try to.
well. And because, yeah, I mean, think about it with, you know, kind of looking at your karate journey, I guess, that, you know, you started off as a white belt, I'm assuming, with your sensei.
I did.
And, you know, if he treated you like crap when you were a white belt, no matter how long he'd been doing it, do you think that you would have the same relationship now that you a double? I was going to say a double.
Second degree, yes.
Second degree. Are you a double black belt?
Double. Yes.
Yes.
I have two of them. Yeah. No.
I wrap them around each other.
Yeah.
But do you think? Yeah. Would you have the same? The same relationship. Would you view him the same? And obviously, you know, we've talked about how sometimes when somebody is like a white belt or a beginner, that, you know, having them question how you do things is one thing, but still, you know, treating them as somebody who has value.
That's right. It's very important, because you're often very uncomfortable when you first start.
Right.
Right. You feel like an idiot. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been in gyms before, a jiu-jitsu gym, where, and I witnessed it. Somebody fresh off the street didn't know what they were doing, and somebody was just tearing them up. Like, they weren't hurting them, but they were not going easy in terms of letting them play or whatever. They were just like, I'm like a blue belt, you're a zero, I'm going to beat you every time. And then they were like laughing at them because they didn't know anything. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that person never came back. I mean, I didn't come back because I witnessed it. Yeah. And it was like, what the hell kind of culture is that? You know, what do you? It's the exact opposite of what I think you should be doing here.
No, it's.
I'm sure it's not just there. I'm sure it's in any kind of like sport, or, you know. I remember going back when I was first starting my freelance designer stuff. I remember an art director who gave me an assignment. I'm trying to remember his name because I'll call him out. He gave me an assignment, and it was like Monday, and it was due Thursday, and I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out how to do this thing he wanted to do, and I emailed him twice, and I tried to call him between then and Thursday, and I couldn't get him, or he wouldn't return my call or whatever. Yeah. And then Thursday I just went to the meeting, and then he was just like, "It's weak that you can't figure this out," you know. And he just kind of berated me, and I remember that, and it was like, dude, like, I don't know what you're talking about, you know. Right. Like,
I'm still trying to learn this.
Yeah, and you knew, like, he knew it though. It wasn't like I was pretending to be some, you know, well-aged veteran. I was like, this is like one of my first gigs ever, and I told the guy that, and the person who hooked me up told him that, you know. Right. And then to berate, and it, you know, it's still, that was like 20 years ago, you know, and it still leaves a mark.
Well, you know, it's
to be like, why treat someone like that? So,
I've heard this mentioned to me recently about something else that we were looking at in our family, but so it's not even sometimes the words that you use to somebody or how you treat them in that aspect, but in this case, it's, you know, somebody treating you in a way that they're, you know, almost setting you up for failure.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so that's even worse than, you know.
Oh, it's 10 times worse.
Janitor in the corner, you know.
You didn't clean this up.
Or you're such a scumbag, you can only get this job.
Oh, I know.
You know, that's pretty horrible. But setting somebody up for failure is probably even worse than a verbal, you know, attack like that. Yeah. That not only, and then waiting to berate them afterwards.
Oh yeah,
like because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Now,
it was like, dude.
Now there's a certain amount of tough love that
tough love I can accept.
Right.
Yeah.
But usually
had that
in
too.
that aspect, it's not tough love. It's I mean I can see trying to prove a point, I guess. Not even tough love, but trying to prove a point.
Well, if I would feel differently to this day if I didn't genuinely feel like I had tried to reach out to the guy.
Right.
Like I was like I got home and sat down and tried to do it, and I was like, oh, I don't.
Right.
It sounded easier when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
But I got home and I'm like, I don't know, and then I emailed him immediately, and then the next day, and then I called him, and then I was like, well, the meeting's tomorrow. I'll just go meet him and just be like, sorry, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like one of my first gigs. I didn't even realize well, first off, I didn't realize that a dumbass, like, he had set the due date, like,
really.
well, it was due the same day. It was just like, this is stupid on your part for like, here's this guy who's never done this before, and I'm going to make it do the exact same day. That's just asinine.
Yeah. Well,
but whatever.
Actually set both of you up for failure.
Well, he eventually got fired, and I got all his work.
It all works out in the
So,
end.
number 3, and I believe in this one, how their car looks.
Yeah. I want to hear your take on
This is the one that's like Admiral McRaven. Have you heard that talk where he talks about making your bed?
Yeah.
Where it's like, get up every day and make your bed. Like,
that.
the lesson that he teaches there, you can't just go into somebody's house and look at their bed. I mean, I guess you could be creepy and figure it out, but you'd probably get in trouble. But you can definitely see their car.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's sort of a, like, how does it look? Is it like, has it never been washed? Is there like food and shit on the floorboards? Like 5 inches of dirt on the dashboard? You know what I mean? I don't think it needs to be spotless. You don't have to be like medical grade clean.
Right.
Because mine's not. But you've been in cars where they're like, just move that over. And it's like, this is your laundry. Like, what's going on in your car?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you've had 6 dogs in here and you've never cleaned it up. And I don't want to sit in dog hair or whatever it is.
Right.
I think it says a lot about their personal attention to detail. I think it just says a lot about their character or their attention to detail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also,
and how they treat their shit.
Right.
Because if they're going to treat their shit bad, how do you think they're going to treat something of yours? You know what I mean? Or if it's an employee, how are they treating your business's equipment or whatever? Probably the same way, if not worse, if they're treating their own stuff that way. Because cars aren't cheap.
No. No, this is true. Yeah, it could also tell you that they have kids.
You can
on the surface value.
Yes.
I mean, you can look at it two ways.
But I
was thinking in the tactical way as opposed to the psychological way.
Yes. Well, technically, you could learn a lot about a person.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. And on the outside of their car with whatever stencil vinyl they have on there.
That's right. That's right. I go more for the character, but but in the same vein, I would give you a pass if you have kids. Yeah. I mean, like one of my best friends has got kids, and like he had like French fries on the floorboard of the back of his car. But when he opened the door, he was like, God damn it, kids. Yeah. Like when I get home to clean this out, like that was his reaction. And I was like, cool. And it wasn't like, oh, whatever. Yeah. Or just eat one, whatever. But like, that would have been more impressive, I think.
Well, if it's McDonald's fries, you know that it's still okay.
Those things last a while. A long time. I don't know what they're made of, but they're good and they last a while. Nobody knows what they're
made of. I got in my car this morning and I was opening up the back door, and I had like the middle seats SUV middle seats down, and I saw in the backpack there was like half a muffin wrapper, and I'm like, we had muffins at the beginning of the week, not at the end of the week. So I know it's been in there at least since Monday. So but I don't ever get back there. I have trouble with that one because sometimes my car looks okay and then sometimes it doesn't. So what are you saying about me? But no, I mean, it's
I'm
true.
the same way. My car's not always. You rode in it today to lunch. It's like not always clean. It's not clean right now. Yeah.
It's cleaner than mine is.
You can tell. You can tell.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You can tell when you get in somebody's car and it's like
I know.
generally clean, or like they've never cleaned this thing. You know, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell. It is a certain smell.
One of my best friends in high school, he's a year older than me, and different school over, and he had this white car that he eventually just put Holstein cow patches on it, so it looked like a Holstein cow. We called it the cow car. Something got
the cow car.
Something got in it. Yeah. I don't know if it was a milkshake or something. You know, like something just set in there. And
week old dairy, awesome.
Oh man, just and you know, and I don't even know that it was his or mine or any. It was just there, and then for the rest of the time we rode around in the car, it just always smelled like week old milk,
like visions of milk.
Yeah,
the week old milk.
Where we're going with this, but but yeah,
gross.
Yes.
So the other one,
but
for
the record, good dude, always liked him.
But I think you can overcome the dirty car.
Yeah.
You could just have a dirty car.
Yeah.
You can overcome it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
Still a good person.
I'm not saying it's 1-to-1. Like maybe.
Well, and
these are indicators.
The basis of this 7 little things that you can tell a lot about somebody. So it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's a bad person.
Right. It could just be dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they could be the greatest person in the world. They just keep their car dirty.
I'm rationalizing the hell out of this right now. All right, moving on.
So 4 and 5 are kind of related, but 4 is how they act when they make a mistake, and 5 is how they act when you make a mistake.
Yeah.
How they act when they make a mistake. This one is also. This should probably be number 1. But I guess it also assumes that you've been around someone long enough to where you would like allow there to be mistakes made on things.
Right.
I mean, so that applies a level of closeness, I think. So.
Well, yeah, it's different when you get your fast food order and they make a mistake versus.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, how do they respond, right? So the idea is like, it's super easy to be agreeable and friendly and not a douche when everything's going great.
Sure.
It's the mark of a person when shit hits the fan. Like, what's going on? Like, do they stick by you? Do they dump you? Do they blame you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, that's the mark of, to me, that's the true mark of a friend or a good person or whatever, is like how they're responding when stuff isn't going right?
Yeah.
So they've got these examples. Do they apologize and commit to avoiding it? Yeah, that's what you should do.
Right.
Do they make excuses, get defensive, and then ghost you? Or do they blame you and accuse you of making a big deal out of something that's not really a big deal?
Yeah.
We've probably had all 3 of these friends.
What? Yeah.
They might be the same person. I'm not sure. Like, is capable of doing all these. We got to admit that we're all capable of doing all of these.
Right. Well, and at different times in your life. First of all.
Yeah, I mean, different shit's going on.
Right. I think, what was it? Listen to I think I told you that I'm 45 minutes into the Marcus Luttrell.
Oh, that's a great podcast episode. Joe Rogan
podcast.
Rogie.
And there was something that he said about, in one of the other, 20 things that he was saying at one time about how, the younger you are, the more of a rookie you are. And
right.
And so, it's going away right now. But basically, he said that the younger you are, that that's like rank.
Right. That's what Marcus called it. Yeah, rank.
Yeah.
It's all rank. You can't. What does he say? You can't go over it, or you can't go around it, or whatever. You just got to go through it.
Just gotta go through it. And so then looking at that as far as how you react when you make a mistake.
Yeah.
I feel that if you're lower down on the rank, so lower age, it's very easy to blame other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. you know, because back to the ego, you know, like you're thinking only here, and you know, that is sometimes that is helpful for a psyche.
Sure.
You know, to in a way, to feel like, you know, there were things beyond my control that led to this happening, to me making this mistake.
Right.
And so, you know, but there's a difference between blaming others and not totally blaming yourself, not taking, like,
it's ownership.
Right. But I can take ownership for something that screwed up, whether I did it or not. And, and I've done that, whether it's work or personal or anything like that. You know, sometimes I probably shouldn't do that, but I'm in charge, let's say it's at work, I'm in charge of that outcome. So no matter if
I got to get it
me
done
or somebody else, you know, it screwed up. It had to be done. It wasn't done. It's my mistake at that point. And or the other thing you said was Hollywood says mistake. You know, the rest of the world says mistake. You know, so it's my mistake. And I have to own it. You know, and then I've beat myself up before over something that, like, I'm in charge of the outcome, but not always in control of the outcome. And so for the psyche, sometimes it's better to finally say, yeah, but those assholes over there should have done what they were supposed to do, even though I'm ultimately responsible for the outcome. So that's further than
it is, but and I agree with what you're saying. It depends on whether you're responsible for those assholes, or it's like a different department or different group of people that's supposed to have taken care of their business. Yeah. It gets a little dicey. Yeah. Sometimes you have to go correct them.
Yeah. But if it's like a, you know.
But I think that's still taking ownership, though. If you take ownership enough, I mean, let's say it is two different departments, and you got to do your job, but you got to rely on these other people, and they don't get it done. And you take ownership to go correct them. I mean, not in a jackass way, but like you go and, I mean, it's still taking ownership because you're still trying to get the thing done instead of just like throwing your hands up and telling your boss, well, not going to happen because they suck. I'm going home. There's a big difference.
Could you communicate it better? I mean, there are a thousand different things that could have been done beforehand.
Yeah, and you're crossing the threshold of being a leader at that point. Yeah, you know, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, but yes, you could also just blame everybody, and then, you know, maybe that's the teenage way of looking at things. And you know, taking no responsibility at all. I'm just gonna fix this mic for a second. I made a mistake right there. I got so animated with my hands that the mic started to fly. That if you take no ownership for it at all, and that nothing was your fault, then that's I guess there is a spectrum there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I want to break it down a little bit further into these three things. So, apologize and commit to avoiding it. There's a podcast I've been listening to, and I think I told you about it earlier today. Sean Ryan, the Sean Ryan Vigilance Elite. It's a great, if you're into the, you know, we were talking about Marco Luttrell, if you're into those military thought, operator, special forces, Navy SEAL type of podcast, which I'm addicted to, but he's one of those guys. So is Sean Ryan. He does these little like 15-minute, 10-minute things, and one of them was like how to apologize. And when I first was scrolling them, I was like, some of these seem like, what the hell is the, you know? But he's just like, how to apologize. I'm sorry, and it will never happen again. He's like, have you ever said that to someone? Like, have you ever, not just say it, but say it and mean it? Yeah. Like, apologize, and then say, it will never happen again, and then make damn sure it doesn't happen again. That's all you got to do.
True. Yeah.
It's so simple. But he's like, most people won't do that. Yeah. They just can't let their ego down enough to just accept that they fucked something up. Yeah. You know? And I think about that all the time, like in my interactions with like people people here I work with and stuff, and they, they'll ask me something like, well, is this thing done yet? And I'm usually immediately like, no, because of whatever. Why are you asking me? And then I have to like, I've learned enough to like not respond.
Yeah.
To just like let it sit there for a little bit, and then I'll come back and I'll look at it and be like, all right, well, I put it off.
Yeah.
It'll be done Monday.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's,
you know what I mean? And it's just like, well, that, like, what's the point? Like, I'm like, and I think me arguing with this person or getting mad at this person, does it get the check in the door? No. Then why are you doing it?
It doesn't really change the circumstances.
No, it's just effort that you're spending that's wasted.
Right.
Yeah. Spend your effort, get your work done a little bit faster on Monday, and go home early.
Right.
There you go. Don't worry about who said it or why they said it.
That
and then
would be much better.
Yeah.
But
what about you? You just get pissed off at people?
No. I mean, I think about...
You never make mistakes.
Yeah. I am perfect. I'm going to quote myself on that sometime.
I am perfect. You just have a shirt. I'm perfect.
I am perfect.
Back off.
That's right. No, as I tell everybody, really, and especially, we go back to talking to kids, like, I make mistakes all the time. And,
right.
And some of those mistakes are, something very small and in the moment. Some of those mistakes are, not cleaning up the garage.
Oh, sure.
And then,
right.
Like right now we have a whole bunch of cabinets coming in, and I know my wife was upset with me yesterday when she was moving all this crap around in the garage, and I've said before, I am sorry, it will not happen again, and guess what, it happened again.
Well, yep.
So there's a whole other part to that.
Yeah, well.
But, I like, some of those things are a little bit bigger, and so I always take responsibility, even if I've screwed up again in the same type of way.
It goes a long way. Man, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Like, you get a lot of shit from people if you just, like, a little humble. I mean, if you want to use it tactically, like, it really goes a long way to just be like, I'm sorry, can I have this? Right. I mean, like, whatever it is, you usually get your way.
I think maybe there's a certain point in my life where that was not even a tactic, but it was like I looked at it as my only way, like, okay, I'm realizing that I should take ownership, but now it's just it's a fuck it, drive on thing. It's like, yes, I did that, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about what happened in the past.
Right. I could try really hard in the future.
Like, I screwed up all to this point. Mm-hmm. From this point forward, I can do my best in order to make sure it doesn't happen. It may happen again. Mm-hmm. It has with the garage. Trust me.
It might.
But
in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big, huge deal.
No. But you, without the acknowledgement of a mistake in the first place, then nothing else can move forward. Mm-hmm. And whether that mistake is yours, somebody else's, anything like that, if it's not acknowledged, then there is no learning. Yep. There is no making it better.
And you're being a jerk. People are like, you're jerky.
That's right. Exactly.
Well, because you don't care. This goes back to the other things.
Yes.
So, do they make excuses, get defensive, or go silent? So this one, I don't know about the first two. Maybe you have something to add there. But the go silent part, on a micro level, let me go to coaching. That's what my go-to. Mm-hmm. So people will come to me, pay me money, ask me to do things, and I will tell them, do A, B, and C, and they won't do it. And one of the things we agreed to was me calling them out on it. And then I will say, I won't even call them out on them. It's like, how's it going?
Right.
Boom. Silence. Nothing. And then they just disappear. And it's like, that's a crazy one.
Yeah.
That's a crazy one. And I don't even know if they've made a mistake because they never taught. They're just like, It's just like I don't even deal with exposing myself
They just died.
to you knowing I'm messing up.
You died to them that day.
I mean, it's just like the ghosting, the ghost silent, the ghosting thing.
Yeah.
It's a real tactic that people use, and
It's avoidance.
drives me batty. I mean, it makes me very angry.
I will go before I apologize. I will go silent in the moment because I actually need.
Sure, you're gonna internalize it, but I'm talking weeks here.
Oh yeah, I know, and that's the avoidance, and that's
forever for 90% of it.
Right, and that is, those are people that maybe they shouldn't be in your life one way or another, where they're a student or
right.
a family member or a friend,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote, or
absolutely.
a colleague or something like that. But those are also people that I feel like, in the coaching aspect, but also for anything else, like, you really want them to not ghost you. And now it's like, not just for me, but I want them to not ghost me and avoid for them.
Yeah.
And so...
Right. I mean, because I'm a coach.
Right.
Like, I think I'm wired naturally to think that way. I'm like, I care whether you're doing this or not.
Right.
It's not about, like, me thinking less of you. Like, I just want you to do the thing.
Yeah.
But people don't understand that.
No, and when I was teaching at a technical community college here, like, those kids, they're there now, were there then. I was one of them at one point too. Like, they're in this kind of weird purgatory of colleges to where they're not at a top tier university, but they've decided to do something more than high school. And so, some of them are there and in it, and some of them are just there, and some of them are barely there. And so, in coaching, that was my, like...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I ever told you, but I promise there's... I've got it.
He's got it.
I've got it. When I was teaching entrepreneurship, business 101, marketing. Mm-hmm. At the very first day of class, everybody comes in with their little books and everything, and just about every single time, I'd take the book that I was given by the college, and I'd throw it in the garbage can, and I said, "If you already bought this, I apologize. We're not going to use it." And some of them freak out, but then some are like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Because I always, like, I mean, I will admit now, if you were a former student of mine, part of it was because I didn't want to read the fucking books. But the other part of it was, like, I would rather teach from experience, but I'd also rather teach, like, project-based. And so we'd always do, like, let's build a business plan off of a business that you would want to make, and things
get
like
something
that.
out of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I tried to make each one of those classes... and we also, like, my first year was, like, I was teaching e-commerce. Like, I made every single one of them start a blog on Blogspot. That's how far back this was.
God, you're old.
Yeah, exactly. But they started a blog on Blogspot and monetize it. And I had some kids that made some money off of it and kept going with it. So, more power to them. But, so, I wasn't there to use rote memorization and teach somebody from a book.
Right.
I was there to teach everything that I knew. We'd use the book every once in a while, especially if we had a final that was set up by the college. I mean,
you got it.
Yeah. But it was all about how they can use their skills, but also what could I impart to them, and what could they learn from outside and draw from outside in order to build something that actually might be meaningful to them. And so in my class, if you didn't put in the time and effort just to do that, then fuck you. then
I just like it when you say
you
that
don't
word.
Deserve
to you're not working
to get an A, to get a D. Like,
it's a hard lesson.
Yeah, and some of those grades were arbitrary.
Yep.
they were based on like the effort put in,
Right.
even if I didn't agree with what you were going to do.
Sure, if it's a lot of effort and work, you got to respect it.
Exactly. And so looking at it that way, if somebody ghosts you, and I had some students like that, then I would always feel like, what am I doing wrong?
Sure, you want to look inside first and
Right.
make sure you're not.
But over time you realize they've got to figure that out for themselves. And if they can't figure it out and they can't take responsibility for it, then I've given everything that I can.
Right. It's part of that. Jocko says you got to detach a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what he kind of think. That's where the detachment would come in. You got to care, but you got to detach enough to know that like a lot of people are going to make the same mistakes, and it's just part of growing up.
It is.
So, do they blame you, accuse you of making it a big deal, or go back in time and list your transgressions that they've never mentioned before and have been saving just for this special occasion? That's pretty simple. I mean, if someone does that, you should just cut them the hell out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fucked up.
Yeah. I think after lunch I was telling you about the article I read that was it how to give negative feedback, not positive negative feedback.
Yeah, it's hard to give.
And it's just like that. It's like, I'm going to tell you something that I don't like about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be defensive.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to start
then I'm
pulling
going to
out
take
things
it.
that I don't do.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah. But then, then the article was talking about, then you can't be counter defensive.
You can't.
Because
then you're arguing.
The conversations, you're arguing
and it's about arguing.
different than what the intended purpose was, but that's a whole other thing.
Stay on target.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, that one was pretty simple, but, I mean, we've all had that happen. We've all had people, they don't like you. I mean,
or even if they do, but, but they feel so backed into a corner.
Right.
That they have to say, yeah, but you did.
You do all this. Yeah, and what I'm doing is not a big deal.
I did, but why does that have to do with what we're talking about?
We're not talking about that.
Exactly.
Yes, you see that in politics, I think, where they'll be like, I'm just gonna pick on the Trump people, but you can say like, Trump said this and it was a lie, and they say, yeah, well, emails, Hillary's emails, and Biden can't. He's old.
You know what? They are mutually exclusive fuck-ups.
They are. they're both wrong, and it's cool. But and I'm always like, well, Hillary's not president right now, so I don't know why we're talking about that. But it's just that defensive, like, well, what about isms,
Yeah.
And people do that interpersonally.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you really messed this project up. Yeah, well, you messed up the last project.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean you should mess this one up. Like,
neither of those things help us right now.
Yeah, we keep messing projects up. We're out of business.
Right,
Let's fix both projects.
Yeah.
Maybe
that is why I detest
don't distest anybody.
I detest politics so much.
Yeah, because that's all it is.
Because either side, whatever, it's
whataboutism and look-at-me-ism.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because then that's when you get stalemates that don't help anybody.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But it goes down to these tiny little things that we're talking about.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
How they act when you make a mistake. So you apologize.
Yeah.
How do they respond to you?
Yeah.
Like, do they like, they're like, cool, man. Yeah, it sucked. We'll get over it.
Yeah.
Or they're like, yeah, you messed that up. You always mess that up.
Yeah.
Or the always famous, well, I told you not to do it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know a person we could probably think of at the same time that is a I told you so human.
Yeah.
And that is the worst personal trait.
I can think of a couple, by the way.
I can too. But
like that we know. But
the whole I told you so type of person.
Yeah.
They're not fun to be around, man.
Yeah. Well, it's how they act when you make a mistake.
Are they gentle with you?
I'm going to go way back for this one. I'm going to go back to my ex-stepfather when I was 12. I'll try not to get too bad here.
Oh, God.
to
stepfather. Okay.
Yeah, to call somebody a sociopath is a pretty bad thing, right?
Well, being a sociopath is a very bad thing. Yes.
Yeah. Well, if this person was not, then I'm not sure who.
Wow.
Was. Yeah. And I remember at 12 finding back in the late 80s, like you had, I don't know, things were more paper based, obviously, but you'd have like these kitschy things that you get at the office supply store.
Okay.
There were no such things as Staples and things like that back then. But it, it's like the to-do list, and then he had one that was actually called shit list, and that somebody gave to him. I'm sure. My name at 12 years old was on that shit list. Yeah.
Oh, he didn't like you.
This guy was a sociopath. He lied about everything. Did a lot of bad things, and is still getting in trouble for some of those things right now.
Oh, goodness.
I just found out.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. Well, you forgot about the sociopath part.
But I think like I broke something.
We were kids, so.
Yeah. And I don't even remember what it is now.
Kids break
broke
shit.
Something. I was on the literal shit list. What's that book? What's that? Oh, it's from a movie or something like that. People to Kill, or maybe there was a Far Side or something. I can't remember.
I don't know. I have a notebook that says People to Kill.
Oh, maybe that was
but it's a joke.
Okay.
I don't actually have people's names in it. I mean,
it's written in disappearing ink.
I just like to carry it to meetings.
I know.
You just sit it on the table and see who notices. That's really all I do with it.
Well, that's good. That's okay.
And then when they're like asking me to do something I don't want to do, I just kind of casually pick it up, write a little note in it, and put it back.
That is perfect. Good tactic.
Is it? I don't know.
That. Yeah, no, it works. But I broke something. It was on the shit list. He treated me like shit all the time, but he treated.
Well, you're on the list.
Yes, and I apologized so many times for
Oh,
whatever
man.
it was.
What an ass.
Now I look back. There are other things too, but now I look back, and I'm like, oh my god, like, I mean, he was a pathological liar too. So so he covered everything that he did or did not do. With that, so it's
he's a sociopath.
So you never knew that there was an issue until finally
right.
there was an issue, and so looking at all 7 of these things, like I can go back through. I could go back through and analyze him on this, but I won't. But that is, if I look back at that and I go, that is a way that I would never want to treat anybody else,
right?
Even him. Now, because that is just not how you should treat somebody.
No, especially
and that's
a
not
kid.
The person that I want to be. That's not
Right.
the people I want my kids or my wife to be. So
Right.
So yeah. When he'd make a mistake, he would cover up for it. If I made a mistake, it was the worst thing in the world, even though it was something small. So
I'm a kid, bro. Back off.
So
I'm a jackass.
Yeah. So if you're out there, I'm coming for you.
I have the training now.
That's right.
All right, number 6. How they act with people they want something from. That's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are many different ways.
There are. I like the example they have here of like someone who's different around you when it's just the two of you than they are when it's maybe a group or a group of people that they really want to be involved in.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that in certain people where they'll like you're like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Like we're hanging out, you're just like a bum. And then like you're in front of these people, you're like grade A personality, you're like a stand-up comedian, you know? You're like, what happened?
Yeah.
It's weird.
And I guess you have to maybe even define in that aspect, what do they want from the other people?
Yeah.
Is it recognition?
Right.
Is it something physical?
Right.
Yeah, I've...
Yeah, because the example in the article here is all about picking up women, it seems like.
Oh.
You know. Which, I mean...
What is that like?
I haven't done that in 30 years. But, I mean, like... I mean, it makes sense. The example is probably an easy go-to example, but...
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, when you just correct me, but I always try to be very similar. I try to be steady, you know, even when I'm around clients. I try to talk to clients and customers the same way I talk to other people. You know, I just don't want to, I'm too tired to pretend around different people. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying I'm just like, all emotional and stuff. I mean, it's just like, you treat them the same way, you know?
Right. But this is specific on you want something.
Yeah, and I don't want to give that example. That's probably too. If you happen to listen to this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't want to do that. But yeah, I will say that you see it in martial arts as well. Like, you know, let's say there's this person that you can get something from in terms of rank or experience or whatever. You will work harder when that person's around than when they're not around.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sort of a telltale thing when it's like, well, they're not in the room. Why aren't you still working that hard? You know, and they come in and you're like, all of a sudden, look, we're really working hard now, and it's like, it's kind of bullshit, man. Because I saw you when you weren't really working hard and you weren't trying, and it's because you can't get anything from me. I was watching you just like they watch you. Sort of the same deal, I guess.
No, it's
even salesy people. That's probably why I'm not a big fan of salesy people. You know when you're being sold to, you know, you go in like whatever, buying a car, and they're your chum. Yeah. Like, what's happening? You know, you look great. Are you losing weight or whatever? You're like, I've never fucking met you before.
Right.
Like, I know you're trying to sell me a car. Can we just quit playing this game?
Yeah, they're trying. Well, in the
I
sales
get
process like that, they were trying to overcome the fact that you don't have a relationship by being gregarious.
And they're trying to do it in like 3 minutes.
Right, exactly. You know, the last person I bought a car from, like, not gregarious at all.
Same here.
And
she just was like, you like that one? Be right back with the key. And I drove it, and I was like, I'm buying it. She was like, cool, go in there and meet with Bob.
That's right.
I'm like,
okay,
done. Yeah.
Then Bob's like, hey!
Yeah. The finance guy.
Yeah.
Hey, we got kids, whatever.
I will tell you, there is, I don't know if you remember it, but there is a car person in town that on his commercials is, and they've kind of slowed down recently, but especially over the past like 20 years, you know, has every single sales gimmick possible.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
In person,
he's not like that.
not like that at all.
I would imagine not.
He is.
Who would be like that?
And actually, I can't.
If he was like that all the time, he'd be like Carrot Top.
Yes.
The most annoying human on the planet. I mean, come on. Carrot Top's not funny. We can agree on that, right?
No.
Okay.
No, he's not.
Well, yeah. He's a freak.
Allegedly.
Pretty sure he is.
Yeah. But he, and I know this because I know somebody who knows him very well. And
Carrot Top? I'm joking.
Him too. He knows both of them. But just a totally different person and fairly down to earth. You know,
right.
and actually, you know, doesn't like talking to people and everything. So yes, I have distaste for that also. But I also, you know, but he's also very successful in what he's done over the past 20, 30 years, 30,
right.
40 years. So I get why it's done. Does it appeal to me? No, not
right.
at all. But maybe you like that type of thing.
He's just trying to get you to look at him.
Exactly. I
mean,
right through the noise.
Yep.
In monkey suits.
Well, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, number 7. How their real life compares to social media life. That's like a good way to end the podcast too, because it's just like a good lesson in life. But like, yeah, I mean, how many people do you know that like? I could think of several right now. That's like every post is like, look at me and my happy family, but like they're getting divorced. You're like, wait, what's happening?
I know.
Or it's like, look at all the wonderful shit I have. Yet it's like, like driving someone else's car. I have a friend.
It's right there. Everything else is bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call him a friend. I've known him a long time. He lives in Charlotte. He moved a long time ago. I don't really talk to him much, but I keep up with him on Instagram. And he's been posting like these cars he's been driving, like a big Porsche, and then one was a Maserati or something. And he's just like, his post is like, the new Maserati's fast as hell, and it's like, that yours? Like, that's not yours. I know you.
Did he lie about it? No.
That's my point.
He didn't say mine.
That's my point. That's my point. We've all seen the Instagram, the social media thing where the guy's using like a toilet seat to make it look like an airplane window. Yeah. He's like, I'm traveling, and it's just like he's holding the toilet seat and he's got sunglasses on or whatever. Right. It's like it's not even an airplane; it's a toilet seat.
Well, then I guess I go back to Joe Rogan again. There's somebody talking about being in Miami and I guess it was another comic. And there's like, one dude with a Maserati, like a purple Maserati, pimped out and everything, and then like, this guy's going getting his picture in front of him and everything, and there's like 8 guys lined up to have the same picture for their Tinder profile or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. You just gotta. I mean, that's definitely a good one. I mean, casual. I mean, if you have a really good friend or a really good acquaintance, someone you know really well, you're going to know what their real life is like, and you're going to know that first. But I think, you just don't know. Yeah. And that's the thing with social media. And I think the lesson or the flip side to pull out of this is like, don't start thinking your life is not good because you're looking at these people and they look so happy and they're doing all this stuff. What I've found, man, like usually the more someone touts something or talks about something or brings attention to something, usually it's super the opposite. The more people are like, I love my wife, and they're like, oh, he bought me flowers and happy anniversary 14,000 times in the same week. Kind of probably having problems. I mean, like I'm just being general here. I'm sure there are exceptions, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And it's like the guy, I forget his name, but he was a senator, and he was just like so against like gay marriage. Oh, yeah. And then it turns out the guy was like, paying for gay prostitutes in the Minneapolis airport or whatever it was. He got busted. Oh, yeah. And it was just like, but like every time he took to the floor, it was like, gay marriage is terrible and gays are terrible. Meanwhile, he's doing this the whole time, and it's like, that's kind of the case for most people, I think. Well, you protest too much in one direction about one thing, and then it's like, well, you do that. You're trying to cover it up. Yeah. No, and those are definitely, I think they're everywhere. I mean, we all do that to a certain extent, too.
But we all do that, but yes, when people do it to a sociopathic
point, cross the line.
Yeah, it's crossed the line. In that example, my stepfather, or ex-stepfather, are examples of people that have pushed that out to a certain point. But again, they've pushed that out to a certain point. They, that they're way up here as far as like not good people. There are people on Instagram that, they do that. Right. And it's not virtue signaling. It's well, there's that too.
I have a controversial topic I want to talk with you when you're done about that.
Okay. But I'm thinking about the models, male, female, whatever that Instagram famous.
Oh yeah.
And
the influencers. I think that's the term you're looking for. Yeah.
And that yes, and you look and they live in a hovel. But that one space, like I said, that one corner of their room is incredible.
They got the toilet seat for the airplane window.
Exactly. But that's not a bad person.
Right.
Like
no, they don't have to be.
But it is kind of like what are you trying to get out of that? What are you trying to
what's going on
show?
Here?
But we've also seen in our society, and especially like with the Kardashians, that that the success of that begets more success of that. Begets more success.
Yeah, that's
of
what's
that.
weird. People
Like,
think they can make a career out of that.
Being famous for being famous, or
Paris Hilton. She now has a podcast. I don't know if you saw that. It's like, their podcast is like,
it's hot.
It's kind of like, but no, the tagline. I don't know the tagline, but the from what I gleaned from what I saw, it was like, hey, guess what? I'm not actually stupid. I'm smart. Listen to my podcast.
Okay.
And it was like, what?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. I mean, sure.
Hey, I'd be willing to listen just to see what she has to say.
Yeah.
And if she is, great. If she's not, then that's what we found out a long time ago. But
Well, here's my thing.
But her real life and her social media life, are probably the same. Actually,
she's very wealthy.
She is the archetype for all of those.
She's also the heiress to the Hilton Empire.
That's what I mean. Her real life is the same.
She's rich.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, and I don't know if you've done this. I don't know who's done this that you know. Okay. I know people that have. I'm not trying to say what I'm about to say to belittle them. It's going to come out that way, so I have to put these out there. Belittle anyone or downgrade the importance of getting vaccinated or how bad COVID could be. Like, I'm not talking about that. Mm-hmm. I'm only talking about my own emotional. And I'm bringing this up because I want you to I want you to correct me, and I want you to fix me.
Okay.
Because if you agree with me, it might be a problem.
I'll try.
But is the posting of your vaccination card, it bothers me. And I think it's just me. And that's why I want to say it, because I try to find ways to validate it, and I've had people tell me certain things, but I just can't help but feel like it's sort of this same thing. I mean, it's not as obvious as like, living a fake social media life. It's not that far. I mean, I don't know what that would be, but it's more along the lines of like the virtue signaling thing, I think. Using social media to do that. It's like, look how good I am. So I don't know. Correct me. Fix me.
Okay. Well,
give me the obvious I'm wrong. Because I feel wrong. I feel wrong having those emotions.
Okay. Let's start back and let's go back. Not to when I was 12.
Let's start there.
There was no social media.
Let's start with the Spanish flu.
Yes.
I mean, you're old.
100 years
You are
ago.
pretty old.
Yes. Let's go back to the beginning of social media for a second. Social media was a way of connecting with people that, like in Facebook's case, that you attended the same college. All right.
It literally started. You had to have a college and then they opened it to high school, right?
Yeah.
But you had to have a college email address.
Then I think I came in right after that.
Yeah, I was in the first wave of the allowing people who weren't students.
And then I did nothing with it, and had no idea. I didn't have any friends on there because, because I don't think anybody from South Carolina was on there at that point. Anyway, but that's all it was. It was
right.
It was literally the college Facebook, online to connect with people. So then social media has grown to
now it's like a platform for whatever.
To look at me.
Yep.
To look at me.
I mean, they sell ads on it. I mean, it's huge.
Exactly, but I mean, as far as the posts that humans post, let's just go with humans for right now. It is a look at me and look at what I've done.
Yeah.
For the most part.
You're not helping me so far.
Right. So there are definitely other types of posts on there, but there is a lot of that, and especially as people figured out that they could, post something about a picture of how they looked in a place that looked rich and posh,
sure,
and then they could make money off of that. Okay, so people are making money off of that while the platforms are making money off of the advertising and all the above, and it just
right, and it becomes the thing.
It spirals out from there. So, forget the political part of what social media does and the divisiveness of it.
Right.
When it comes to a specific post like that, I kind of feel like there's a couple of different reasons for posting it. And one is somebody posted, if somebody like, okay, so first wave were 70-year-old plus and then healthcare workers. So most of the people who posted...
Yeah, you're right. I like how you're breaking this down.
Most of the people who posted first...
Yeah, like nurses or whatever.
Are healthcare workers.
Yeah.
And what they were trying to say with that was, hey...
It's important to do it.
It's important to do it when it's your chance.
Yeah.
I'm getting vaccinated because I want to, whether it's like, I want everybody else to be vaccinated so that we can have a better place and everything.
Yeah, let's be clear. I am for it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
No. But I'm trying
do it right now.
I'm trying to break down. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm with you on that one because when I saw someone in like a medical garb or whatever, or even first responder or whatever, I was like, cool.
Yeah, but technically, it is a form of virtue signaling.
It is, yeah.
Because there are people.
There are people with firm beliefs that don't believe in. They're scared of it. They're like,
exactly.
I don't know what this is. They don't feel good about it.
I kind of told you about this.
And I'm 50-50 on it. I'm like, shit. This stuff's new, whatever. But I'm also kind of like, I get it. It's science. I should probably go that route, and I'm going to do it. You know.
I told you that I have a friend that does not, want to have a vaccination.
Right.
And we had it all worked out fine between us, but I'm trying not to I don't ever want to throw anybody under the bus and put them out there for this because that is their belief.
Absolutely.
Whether I agree with it or not.
Yeah.
That is their belief.
I know a lot of people that believe in shit I don't believe in.
Right. But something that person said to me was I've had issues with, the CDC and the information that they put out for long before any of this. So
wouldn't disagree.
It's it's something that she's taken the time to research.
Yep.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, you don't need it that deep. You're just just give me the thing. I don't care.
Right.
Yep, I'm there too.
So yes, so there is some virtue signaling when people put that out there.
Yeah.
It is a look at me.
Yeah.
It can be a look at me.
Yeah.
But again, is the look at me. So I feel like there's a look at me because I'm better than you. There's a look at me. I'm virtue signaling. You should get this because I'm smarter than you and I'm better than you.
Yeah.
And then there's the. You should get this, or I'm putting this out there that I got it. I'm hoping that other people get it because I hope that this will solve all this bullshit.
Right.
I think that there are 3 different ways of looking at that particular type of post.
And it's very gray.
Yeah.
Because if you're a leader, the president does it, and it's on TV and he's doing it. It's okay, well he's a leader. He's sending a signal. He's doing it on purpose to send a signal. Right. And I've seen some people do it. They did it and they were like, I want to be the leader, I believe in this, let's do it. Sure. I'm like, I kind of can't argue with that.
No.
But it's just the shot of the person in their car with their card and their mask still on, and they're like, looky.
Right.
You're just what's your intention?
So, I feel like those 3 posts...
Probably says more about me than it does them, but hey, there you go. It's what the whole podcast is about.
Very true. Those 3 posts were about in phase 1.
Right.
Medical people getting 70-year-old, not very many 70-year-olds I'm sure that you know that are on Facebook that were putting that out there.
No.
I do. I mean, I in-laws and family and everything.
Wow. Yeah,
I don't know if they put it out there or not. Maybe they did. But then let's go phase 1B. And people that are getting the shot like me.
Mm-hmm.
I was the pharmacist was saying, hey, we have extra shots. Does anybody want one?
Let's go.
That's how I got mine.
Yeah.
I'm not in the age group. I'm not medical. Anyway. And so people posting now that are in this group of they're younger than 70, so that's, right around Facebook's sweet spot as far as their population. And I kind of feel like some of the people that are posting now it could be the look at me. It could be the virtue signaling. It could be the I really want people to get better.
Right.
But I think that, like, because it was kind of established here in the medical community,
It's kind of okay.
It's kind of okay to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now it literally can be a look at me,
I'm part of
I
it.
got it,
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So
The same as like, look at me, I'm at a water park.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right. When we get to stage 3, and it's the 16-year-olds getting it. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
it's pointless.
My mom made me get this.
Yeah, it's pointless at that point. Yeah.
Like, I don't think that it will. You won't see those posts.
Right.
Maybe you will, but
Yeah.
Here's the last thing that I think on. Not the last thing. Here's the one thing that I think about this is. We may be told in coming years that we need another vaccine for something else that happens. And, I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Well, it happened the first time, so.
Right. But, we're looking to go to England for a trip.
Right.
And I've also heard this about going to New York. Maybe not true. But basically, you have to get a negative COVID test in order to go over there now.
Yeah.
I think at some point that
You're going to have that card.
you're going to have
just
that
travel.
card. Right.
Show me your papers.
Right, and that's something my friend said
Maybe.
too.
I mean,
it was like, you're in a way that, her beliefs are going to limit her travel because, you'll have to have that card to prove.
Yeah, and that.
And people are selling those things now.
What do you mean
in
selling?
the dark web.
Really?
Yes.
Like fake cards?
Just read an article about it. They are selling them.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, I mean, I was waiting for that to happen. But that is like a new currency.
Do you hang out on the dark web?
No, but I read stuff about the dark web.
Where is the dark web?
It's that little corner down. It's not that corner. That is the light web. That is
the dark
web.
Let's go to the gray web.
Exactly. That's where I live, in the gray web.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But it will be a new currency.
Makes sense.
That so if you're on Facebook and you like,
oh, you're like,
here I am, look, I got it on.
Because it's kind of like giving me the same vibe as like people I will post something and they'll be wearing their mask and they're clearly by themselves,
right, in the middle of the ocean,
and it's like
nobody there,
unrelated to that, but they'll just have it on, and I'm like, bro, like, what are you doing, man?
Right.
Like, you're just, I don't know.
Well,
it's like a thing. It's like, I know it's a thought process, and I know that even there's people that are like, they'll be hanging out with their family, and they take a family picture, and they're like, whoa, I don't know if I should post this because I'm not wearing a mask or whatever. And it's like the opposite of virtue signaling. It's like there's been so much of it, you're scared to even, like, share something.
I told you when we were talking about video.
Yeah, you were talking about it. Yeah,
I was like, I had a certain level of concern.
What if we're so close, sitting closely? I mean, that's my point.
You've had it.
Yeah.
I've had the vaccination, and I'm almost at my 90-something% by next Wednesday. But there are people that I'm, if they gave a shit enough, would be like, hey, why are you guys doing this? Well, I think also that, it depends on where you live too. Like people that I work with.
Yeah, this is South Carolina.
Yeah,
this is South Carolina, so
right.
they don't
South
really
Carolina,
care at all.
People that I work with in California, they were just talking about like, hey, we're actually thinking about going and sitting outside and eating together. Are you okay with that?
Isn't that crazy?
I know, but that's where they live.
Yeah,
that is what they know.
That's what they've been fed.
Well, right or wrong, that is the situation that they're in.
Yep.
And we're not in that situation.
Right.
And so, when I listened to him talk about that, I was just like, that is very interesting. Because that is not a thought process that I have to have anymore.
Nope.
But I mean, I also see people driving by themselves in their cars with a mask on. So I think there's also a certain level of education that
there is.
Somebody told me to put on a mask every time I go out the house.
So wear it.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody's got different circumstances. I'm coming off very judgy. And it's not so much. I do want to be clear. It's not so much that I'm like judging like the local populace as much as I am generally interested in the psychology behind why someone would do that, why someone would feel the need to make a post like that. Like, what goes into that? It's personal marketing. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what it is.
Yeah.
But back to the social media, like, lifestyle thing, like, it's all personal branding.
Yeah.
That's what we're all taking place in, whether we are being, whether we're doing it on purpose or whether it's just like this subconscious thing that we're doing.
You and I do it too.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating to study, and especially this COVID shot thing and the vaccination and the mask. I mean, it's just like, you know, everyone's participating in this, like, I don't want to use the word theater because that has connotations, but they're all participating in this personal branding thing, and it's fun to watch. I mean, honestly, and this is a podcast about how the little things tell you a lot about people. Sure. I really think it does.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's an amazing thing to watch how it's evolved over the past year and how you could learn a lot about someone just simply by the way they wear a mask. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It is.
Because it's like, it's a real thing and it's real science, and like, why is it even that way in the first place? It's just, people ruin everything, don't they?
Yeah, but with that,
hey guys, you ruined this pandemic. It could have been so much fun.
We could have had a great time. Oh, yeah.
This is a deep conversation. It's probably a whole podcast in and of itself, but I just wanted to bring that up.
No, but
I wanted to hear your thoughts on it.
I feel like it's I feel like there are 3 different reasons.
Yeah.
And maybe they're all mixed together too, and maybe,
Who knows?
maybe somebody's just posting like, holy fuck, thank you so much.
Could be.
Got the,
Yeah.
like, and I think
now I can see my parents who I have not seen in 12 months.
Exactly.
I mean, cool.
Yeah.
That's great. It's not a bad thing.
And I feel like you probably, sometimes I don't like reading comments, but you maybe have to read their comments to see. Maybe that's where you find out whether they're virtually signaling or if they're just elated, like
They're generally scared of it. I mean, that's it's legit.
Yeah. I mean, so I would say, one of the terms I've heard the most during this past year, and maybe it's just because we're in the South, but I've heard a lot of, give them a little grace.
Yeah, man. That's...
And
that's
not my expression, but
yeah, you're talking about having empathy. Have some empathy for people.
Yeah,
we could use a lot more of that.
I will tell you this though, with everything that's going on, whatever you believe or not, that the more times that you see that type of post, it means that maybe we're a little bit closer to getting this bullshit that's happened in the past year behind us.
And that's how I flip it in my head when I have that initial like gut reaction of like, that's what the fuck you posting that for?
Yeah,
and then I stop and I go, well, hey man, it's one more person.
It's one more person.
It means we're like you said, one step closer to not having to talk about this shit.
Right. And so exactly.
Which is really all I want.
Exactly. No, enough people are vaccinated. So the people that don't get it vaccinated, then we get herd immunity,
Yeah, let's get over it.
I'm not a scientist. I do not know exactly how it happens sometimes. But for the most part, then I think that everybody kind of wins at that point.
Yeah, I think we do.
And then,
Yeah, regardless of your political affiliation.
Yeah. So.
Cool. All right, well, I don't know where to go from there other than next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right, man. If anybody has any questions, if you want to yell at me for how I see things on Facebook, go for it.
If you want to post your vaccine card,
do it. Yeah, I mean,
I've
go
got
for
mine,
it.
By the way.
I can make a post
right now, and then I could point to this guy right here.
Did you post it?
No.
Okay.
No, but I also, me, I only post quotes.
It was also funny. There's a parting shot. It's like they'll like black out their Social Security. I don't even know what's on it, but like they'll hold their thumb over. It's like you can't even show the whole thing.
It may not be you.
Yeah,
that's somebody else's.
Well, hey, that's a
dark web.
That's right. It could be a dark web vaccination card. It could
but
totally
sure
be exposing
when
everyone.
You post yours. Make sure you tag Gene Crawford. on your Facebook.
Yeah, I'm
posts.
conducting a study. All right, man. Until next time. Bye. I think that was like an hour and 40 minutes. Oh, shit. Yeah. My point exactly.
Yeah.
You didn't have to pee in your pants this time.
Well, I did